A full face of e.l.f. makeup for mature skin. Hi, I'm Laura Ray. Yesterday I turned 59, and I see so many younger people here on YouTube doing videos of all e.l.f. products, but I haven't seen many from women my age. So I thought it would be fun to see if some of these products that are all over TikTok and Instagram that are being raved about actually work on mature skin. My skin right now is combination skin. I do have some dry areas. I notice my under eye area has been very dry recently, and just some little bits of flakiness from the skincare that I'm using to exfoliate. The Redermic that I use, it's like a vitamin A. So I'm getting this little bit of peeling and that kind of thing. So many of you can relate to that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do an entire face of e.l.f. We're going to start prepping the face. I haven't tried this, so some of these are things I have not tried. We're going to try together and I'll give you updates on in the future. Some of these products I've used for quite a while. This is their Glow Up Primer Serum. Now what I was wondering is this anything like the very pricey Charlotte Tilbury products? Will it give that glow to the skin? So it's got a little dropper here. I think we'll put on a couple of drops and just sort of press it into the skin. Let's see how it feels. Well, I do notice a scent, a slight scent to it. So we'll see how that works for me. I have very reactive skin. So sometimes if things have fragrance too high up on the deck list, I'll have an effect to it. I'm going to put a little more. I'm looking at my skin and I'm definitely seeing some luminosity to this. So we'll see how this works. All right, so while we're waiting for that to sort of dry, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about something I have tried, which are the brand new lip exfoliators. Now, I bought brown sugar coffee. I'm missing my coffee. I'm not drinking coffee anymore. And strawberry. And they all smell great. They all have a scent, but not overly strong. And you just take it like this and just go lightly over the lips. I don't know, this strawberry smells pretty good. It may be my favorite. And you just gently go over the lips and then you would rinse them off. You have to be gentle with this. I find that this particular scrub is maybe a little aggressive, so don't go hard over the lips. Be really gentle. I'm just doing like little tiny dashes like this. But I really like it. I used it a few times now. And again, they come in brown sugar, and this one's brown sugar, and then the one with a little lighter packaging, definitely the coffee. Now let's talk about brows. I really love doing my brows before I do my eyeshadow. Sometimes I don't, but it really does set sort of the frame of the eyes. e.l.f. has some amazing eye products that I've used for a long time. One I'm going to try today is their wax brow pencil. I'm hoping this works really good because I saw some online that were so expensive for the wax. And this is supposed to help keep the powder in better. Now this little powder palette I've had a while, and it does have a wax right here. But this is just so convenient. It really is. So what I thought we'd do is start first. I like a combination of products for my brows. They're fine. I feel that powder and some kind of pencil works the best. So I have two shades, Taupe and the Blonde, and this is their Instant Lift Brow Pencil. So before we start, I'm just going to brush through my brows. And then I'm going to take the Taupe pencil and sort of outline where I'm going with this brow. I'm going to fill in a little bit in this section right here. That's where it's a little sparse. And I'm going to add a little more hair above the brow to even out, because my brow sort of starts at an angle here. It's not even across the top in this section. Maybe some of you have that same thing going. So I've been watching, I'm going to link her channel. She is a brow expert from Anastasia, and she does brows in California in their salon. And I've learned a lot of great tips from her lately. So I'm going to link her channel because I think it would be really helpful to you if you struggle with brows. And I'm just going to draw a few hairs in. One thing that she says over and over is blend, blend, blend. Just like you do with foundation, eyeshadow, you got to blend. And this is your little blender right here. This pencil is so affordable. I think it's $4 now. I believe when it came out it was $3, but it's gone up a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take the brow powder. This is their bite size. This came out about maybe a year ago, and I have a little Anastasia brush, and I'm going to go into the lightest shade. I don't want to be too aggressive, and would just sort of fill in. Now, one thing that she said I thought was so helpful that I wasn't doing, she said, don't go in on the edge of this angled brush like that. Go in on the flat side. So take the flat side of the brush and just draw across it. And then go with your brow at an angle like this instead of necessarily straight up and down. So I'm going to do that and just fill in these little areas. And let's go ahead and we'll put that wax on now. I'm going to go ahead and wax the brow. And this should get the powder to stay on better. I feel like the powder is sort of spreading now too as I put the wax on. So maybe I won't put any more. I'll just take the spoolie and start brushing it out. Now it looks to me like I need a little more on the tail. I'm just going to take my pencil and darken the tail a little bit. If I just use powder my brows with nothing in it, as the day goes by, it sort of fades and goes away. So I feel like the wax will be really helpful. And that wax pencil, I believe, was $4. But it's going to last a long time. Let's see how much product is in it. Oh yeah, that'll last a very long time. Look at how much product. I could keep going with this. So there's a lot of product in it, great value. It really, once I put it on, I felt like the powder blended better. So let's take a look at the first brow versus nothing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the other brow. I really like these pencils. They're not as pointed as my NYX micro brow that I rave about all the time. But with this powder and the wax, I think it's working. And the brows are looking pretty good for my brows. I'm going to go ahead and shape the brow so I have a good angle of where I'm going with this. Definitely adding some across the top here helps give my brows so much more shape because both sides are cut sort of at an angle. And another thing she said that I did, my brows were growing very low down here, which was sort of dragging my eye down. I plucked with a pair of tweezers the bottom row of hair very carefully. I would never shave that. It would be too risky where I'd lose too much of my brow. But it really did help plucking. It probably was 8 hairs. It wasn't very much. Wow, I'm really loving this. I forgot how much I like this pencil. That's without even powder. That's looking pretty good on its own. Now let's go ahead and put the wax in. And I'll just fill in a few little spots. I'm just, again, using the lightest powder in this. I like that it has so many options for shades. So if you want to mix shades, which she talks about a lot in her videos, maybe having multiple shades, this is such an affordable way to do it. If you had to buy all those pencils, even 2 pencils of a higher end pencil, that would be maybe $50 if you're buying 2 Anastasia pencils. So this is just such a great savings. And I'm actually really happy with the way these brows turned out. They look as good as when I use higher end brow products. Now we're going to start on the eyeshadow. I used to think this was the most horrible e.l.f. product, and I actually love it now. This is their eye primer. I remember a time when it was $1. It was $1 when I first started buying e.l.f. It has a doe foot applicator, and the thing that I didn't like about it is it didn't give me any coverage as far as blurring out the discoloration in my lids. It seems to me that they have changed this formula a little bit. I could be wrong, but it seems like it does give a little more coverage. And I repurchased this a while back, and I found it really did hold onto my shadow great. So I've totally changed my mind on this product. I don't know if it's me or if they did switch things up a bit. But I like the applicator, and then I do usually take a brush like this and just blend it out. What I do love about this, it's not drying on the lids. So many of these eyeshadow primers that I've tried are very drying on the lids. So this one is not. And there you go. Now, if you want a different option, if you want to make the shadows pop, then what I would suggest is one of their No Budge cream eyeshadows. Now they have it in a white. So you could take this, let's put a little on, and if you wanted to get more vibrant color to the lid, now what I find with this, it lasts. This stuff does not budge. They are not lying. This is so truthful. This I've worn before, and it does not move a lick. You actually sort of have to work quickly because it dries down and then it does not go anywhere. So I'm going to try putting the white just on the mobile lid, not the whole thing. I think it could be a little drying for the rest of my eye. But this really does last. But I thought the white would be great, sort of like the NYX Milk Pencil, but in a container instead of being a pencil. But you do have to work quickly with these, and they do last. All right, so we have that primer going. Let me show you some of the other shades. I bought this one, which they don't have the shade names on them, so I'll have to list them in the description of the video. That's where all the links will be. If you just hit the More section, everything pops down and you can see the links. But I have this, and then I bought one that was more of a peachy shade. I thought this might be good for every day. Like I said, the only thing that to me is a little bit on the downside of these is they dry really super fast. But otherwise, they live up to the hype of not budging. Before we put on shadow, I want to go ahead and apply a primer I've never used. This is their new liquid Poreless putty primer. Now, I would not use this over my entire face. What my plan is to put it in the T-zone. And I'm super excited. I wasn't the biggest fan of their regular putty primer. I've tried it. I keep trying it. I keep rebuying it. Recently, I bought the little package where they have 3. They have a luminous primer, then their regular one, and a matte. I still don't notice a huge difference with it. There are other primers that work better for me, but I want to try this. You can see it's a whole other consistency, and I thought maybe that would work better. So let's put this on because I definitely want this to dry before we apply foundation. I do feel a smoothness to it as it's drying, almost like a powdery feel, which I always like that. Those seem to work really good. So I'm very hopeful about this primer. I do have quite a bit of pores on the side of the nose, and in this area here, some on the chin, so we'll put some there, and then I'm going to put it right in this middle section. And what I really want to see if it helps with is fine lines here. So that's a concern some of the younger influencers that have tried this on camera don't have, but we as mature women have fine lines. So I'm going to put some where I have fine lines, and we'll see if that smooths any of that out. Seems to be drying fairly quickly, which I like. And I noticed that powdery sort of feel to it. Not only feel, but look like things are diffused. So far I'm liking this much better than the putty primer. A lot. The putty primer at times would sort of ball up on me like some of the others that are made like that do. This is not. Maybe this kind of formula is going to be a lot better for mature skin. So far, so good. My skin feels really silky. I like it. So let's go on and finish the eye lookup. This is one of their new little bite-sized palettes. This shade is called Orange Dreamsicle. And I thought this was such a soft, natural looking palette. That's what I was looking for summer. I'm going to take my Jillian Dempsey brush, and I do notice sparkle. I notice some sparkle and shimmer in these 3 shades here, and this one looks matte to me. Let's see. Yes, that's definitely matte. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to put that on the mobile lid. I really didn't have any shades like this in my collection, and that's another reason I picked it. I have oranges, but not like such a soft orange like this, and I thought it would match really well with my coral shirt. So far, these seem to be pretty much like the other bite-sized palettes. I have a lot of them. I've tried some. I brought a couple of new ones that I'm enjoying. The green one I thought was so pretty. This is the Mint Melt. And then I really like the one Good Vibes Only. This was a fun palette because it had some really unique shades in it. That's why I wanted to try it. Let's go in with a little of this shimmer on the lid. See how that looks. I'm going into the very lightest shade on the corner, just all over the eye. I really like that. And I want to take just what's already on my lid and just blend up. That's one thing I love about this Jillian Dempsey brush. It's so good at blending edges. Let's take this pointed brush. This is a Refer 3. I just want to do a little more detailed look. Let's go in back into the matte, and I'm just going to add a little in the corner for some definition. I could wet this, and I bet that would be really good. Spraying a little setting spray or something, but I'm just going to go in and give a little more detail. I'm not going to apply any deeper colors. I think I want to keep this look really light, really summery. Now, I am going to use one of their shadow sticks as an eyeliner. So I'm going in with this one. This shade is Rose Gold. Let's try that out. I know what I'm going to do. I don't have an e.l.f. liner, so let's go back to the brow palette. And I'm going to go into the deepest shade with this Rephr brush. And we're going to use that as eyeliner today, because I do want a little more definition. I actually like doing that, putting that rose gold pencil on first, which was sort of too light, but it'll work great in the under eye. It held on to the powder really well. So I'm going to go back and let's do that on this eye. I'll just go into the pencil. This would be great in a brown. I need to get this e.l.f. No Budge. These are wonderful. I love using these as eyeshadow, but all of these kind of sticks work great as eyeliners. So if I just had a deeper shade in this, that would have been pretty perfect. I'm going to go back into the brow palette, into the darkest shade, and go along the lash line right on top of that, just to give a little more definition. And actually, I could use this in the outer corner, do a little more deepening and shaping of the eye. This is such a fantastic palette. If you buy anything, make sure you get this because I think it's so versatile. Look, I'm using it right now to contour my eyes and give more shape. I love that. And that's a shade I probably wouldn't use much with the brows because it is deeper. And I think this shade right here on the end would work great in, oh, that's pretty pigmented. Wow. Let's add a little of that. Oh, yeah. Isn't it so fun to be creative with your makeup? You find things you never thought you would find. I think most people, when they pick up a palette like the eyeshadow palette, wouldn't think of it as like contouring the eyes, but look at how nice that looks. We started off with a lighter look, but then I went rogue. I think that's my motto for this year is go a little rogue. Do you have a motto for the year when you have your birthday or the new year? Do you have sort of a mantra for the year? I think mine is going to be go rogue, because you discover a lot of great things. I'm going to go back into the under eye and just give a little more definition there. And I've got some Q-tips nearby and some of my micellar cleansing water. This is great for just cleaning up eye makeup. I really love it. It's an all-in-one waterproof makeup remover. I'm going to take the Q-tip and I just run it into the product like this and then just go around and sort of clean things up. I've found that this doesn't dry my eyes out. I can't guarantee that for everyone, but for me, it's great. I can just clean things up. And I really like this eye look. I think it turned out beautiful. And we're going to use their mascara now, which I feel is a great dupe for the Benefit Roller Lash. This is the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. Same kind of brush. It just works great at getting the base of the lash. So I like to start and sort of wiggle down at the base, get it full in the base of the lash, and then work more on the rest of the lashes. This works beautifully. Now, another thing that I like to do, many of you have seen that watch my channel, is take this Delium bent brush, get some of the product on it, on the tip of the brush, and then I can just gently hold the eye and get at the base and wiggle, and it almost gives you just like a whole new lash line. I'm not doing the waterline. I never put anything in the waterline. It just doesn't work for me, and I think it aggravates my eyes. So doing this is great. I'm hitting just at the base of the lash. You can take this brush and get those hard to get lashes, like some of them that are in the inner corner. Those are sometimes problematic depending on the shape of your eye, and also the outer corner. So there's some I cannot get with just about any wand, and I like to use the brush for that. And this is so gentle on your lashes. That's another thing I like. And again, getting at the base where I really can't get with brushes, meaning eyeshadow brushes. Let's take a look at the two eyes now. I was really surprised by this. When I first got it, I went and got the Benefit. Again, I've used it before, but I didn't have it at that moment, and tried them out side by side, and I couldn't tell a difference. And that mascara is somewhere in the mid-20s to high $20 price mark. This is so affordable. Now, if I get any on my mobile lid, which I do sometimes with any mascara, then I just wait for it to dry and take it off with a Q-tip. It pops right off. What I like is it doesn't seem like my lashes are clumping with this mascara. It seems like they're getting some nice volume. Just go in with my brush and coat some I can't get to. There we go. Now, when they dry, if you feel you do have any clumping, you can always take this tool and just sort of comb through the lashes to get them to be more fluttery. And let's hold them back a little bit, give them a little curl. Now, this mascara originally was supposed to be so great for curling the lashes. So if you struggle with your lashes being very straight, this is supposed to give them a very curved look. Now you can also take your finger, clean hands, while it's drying and sort of just hold them up. That looks pretty good. Let's take a look. e.l.f. has come out with several new color correctors. I bought this yellow, which is called the Camo color corrector. Now the Camo concealer did not work great for me. It got into all my fine lines, so that didn't go so well. What I noticed, I tried this out yesterday and I felt the same way. It had a little bit of a strong paint scent. Yes, definitely a strong, almost a nail polish scent to it. And it faded once I applied it, but it did get into my fine lines. So this will be a no for me. Now, I also got their putty color correcting. These look a lot like many we've seen. I've got a nude shade and then a pink one. Now, you all that watch all the time know I love the Catrice color corrector. The under eye brightener from Catrice works amazing on my skin. What I noticed with this one, it was very emollient, and I am going to put it on today. It seems to me thinner than the Catrice, but it also seemed to get in my fine lines. So this is probably going to be a no for me. I'm going to continue to use it, but I'm going to put it on right now for you so you can see it's fairly bright. That part of it I loved. I thought it worked great. Then I took my Angie brush and sort of blended it out. I feel this is not as hydrating as the Catrice. And that's the problem I had with this. This might look great on someone that has super oily under eyes. They could tolerate it. But this was very drying for me. And I feel like that with this. The Catrice is much more hydrating. So if you have dry under eyes, I would not recommend this. Mine right now are a little dry. I don't know why we have so much humidity here right now, but whatever I'm doing, I have a little bit of dryness in the under eye. I'm on the fence about this. I'm going to continue to use it longer, but I feel a tackiness, like it's still a little bit hydrating, but I just don't like the texture of it as well as I did the Catrice. I love that one, and that one's so affordable, so I think I'll probably end up sticking with that, but I'll let you know in the future more about this one. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this eye brightener, but I will continue to try it. I won't give up. And what I noticed was when I looked in the mirror last night after a few minutes, all these little fine lines I wasn't even noticing before sort of stood out to me. So I have other concealers that I love that work great. So that's going to probably be a no. But let's move on to foundation, and I'm going to clip my hair back. I've used the e.l.f. before in the past, but it has been a while because I'm always trying different foundations. Let's go ahead and put it on the glass palette and see what it looks like. I bought the shade Bisque 210. I was with Danielle when I purchased this, and we looked at the shades and we felt like, well, that was the best one that they had. And so we're going to go with 210 Bisque. Now, I am curious how this is going to feel on my skin, if it's going to be drying or not. So let's go really easy with it. Now this, they say, is, I think, a medium coverage. Yeah, medium coverage. I rarely use medium coverage anymore. Usually I use something very light, but we're going to see how it looks on my skin. And most of you that watch all the time are used to seeing me with something that is considered light coverage. So far, it looks really nice. It seems to be covering my pigmentation and things. I'm using my Stands Out sponge because that gives such a nice look with pretty much every foundation I have. So I want to give this the best chance I can give it. I wouldn't use this with a brush. It's just too heavy. If I used a brush, I would get a thicker coverage, and I know I would not be happy with that because I would just feel like it was weighing down the skin. So that's why I've gotten away from fuller coverage, because I felt like those products made my skin look saggy. So I got away from them and went to thinner formulas that would give enough coverage but not make my skin look worse. Like some foundations, I felt like my skin looked better without anything. So I'm bringing it down to the neck on this side, and I'm going to stop for a minute and we'll see. Now, one thing I like, it has covered my capillaries where I usually put concealer on. I have a little discoloration on the cheeks, and that seems to be covered nicely. I do see it collecting a tiny bit in the fine lines in my forehead. So I'm going to lift my forehead up a little bit and sort of blend out. Maybe that's user error. Maybe I got too much product up there. So when I see stuff like that, I just sort of blend it out. This is the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation in number 210 Bisque, and then without anything except the primer. I think it looks pretty nice, and it's very affordable. It doesn't feel drying on the skin. Of course, I always like to really have my skin hydrated with my skincare, and I'm wondering if the serum I used, this one, the e.l.f. Glow Up, how that will work. Now that's considered a primer, so I've sort of double primed in a way. You could use that on its own, but I wanted to try that liquid putty primer, which I'm glad I did. I actually am loving it. Much better than their other one. Which, you know, I'm talking about the putty primer. I have the little version of it, but this is the luminous putty primer. I haven't even tried that one, I don't think yet. Maybe once, but I was trying the matte and the regular one. But I bought the original putty primer when it came out, and I just tried so hard to get it to work, and it just didn't seem that that step was worth it. If a step isn't worth doing, then I eliminate it because I don't want extra steps. But if something's really effective and working great for my skin, then I feel it's worth the time and the money and the effort. Let's take a Q-tip. I see a little mascara. I'm going to get that off. Just sort of clean up the eyes. I really like this, and I don't even feel like I need powder because it's satin enough where my skin doesn't look that dewy. So I would be good to go with this. I wouldn't even apply powder. I have several new products for the face to share with you that many of you have seen because they've been out a few months now. But I have the Halo Glow Contour Wand. I may have shown this once, but I don't remember much showing this. I do like the way the wand is, and you just push the product up, and I'm going to put a little contour here. And it is gray, like a contour should be. So I like that about it. And when I contour up pretty high because I don't want to have a droopy skin there. And I normally don't do a lot of contouring in the cheeks because I do have sort of a narrow face and higher bone structure, higher cheekbones. But I like this for contouring even the jawline, or you could contour the nose. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little here. Let's blend this out. I like that it gives you enough time to work, so it isn't something you have to be so speedy with. So that's the true contour in light. Now I'm more of the end of light, medium, almost medium skin, and this light or fair, it says fair's light, is pretty deep. So if you have my skin tone, I wouldn't get any darker than that unless you want a very strong contour, because this is pretty strong on its own. Now, as far as blush, I bought the Halo Glow Beauty Wand, and this is pretty metallic looking. So if you liked the e.l.f. Luminous blushes, which I really love these are probably my favorite. I'll put some of this on the cheek because I really love this. I like to just go and put my brush in and build the product up. But I love the luminosity in this. When I use these, I don't feel really the need for any kind of highlighter or anything like that. I think this gives such a beautiful look. Now I'm going to add a little bit of this. This is some pretty strong stuff. This is their Halo Glow in Berry Radiant, and you'll see what I mean once I put it on. Maybe because it's the berry shade, but it's pretty strong, the color, and it has a very metallic look. So if you don't like metallic, then I'd say stay away from this. You might just enjoy the matte putty blushers. I have some of those, and I'll show you some of those. Like this putty blush is so beautiful on the skin and doesn't have all that metallic to it. So if you're not a fan of luminosity and all of that, then I say go with the matte blushes. This product from e.l.f. has been all over social media for more than a year. The Halo Glow, this was supposed to be a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Hollywood Flawless Filter. A lot of people use this as a primer. I don't. I use it just on the cheekbone here, so I'm going to add a little bit, and you can just take your finger and blend that out. I think this is beautiful. It's one of e.l.f.'s best products in my opinion. I really just think it looks gorgeous on the skin. It adds some brightness, luminosity. I think it's one of their most fun products they've ever come out with. I love it. I think it's great. Now let's move on, last but not least, to lips. I'm going to use their e.l.f. Hydrating Core Lip Shine. These are beautiful. Look at how cute this is with the little heart in it. I think these are gorgeous on the lips. They're sort of like a lip balm, lipstick, all in one. I think these are great for mature lips as opposed to some of the e.l.f. lipsticks I've tried before. Some of those I've felt were maybe a little more drying. I think these are just perfect. So affordable. They come in some wonderful shades. And I like this one for this look, working with the orange. This was sort of my inspiration for the look and this new top that I bought. So I think all of these shades work really nicely together. So let's take one last look at my e.l.f. look. This is the first time I've done something like this, and I really like it. Let me talk about some of the superstars from this. I would definitely say I am loving these shadows. I think they're beautiful if you're looking to add a new color to your color stories that you have. I love this highlighter. I think this is so beautiful if you haven't tried it. My shade actually is shade 3, light medium. It comes in a lot of different shades. So light medium is what I'm wearing. I still am in love with the Luminous Putty blush. I like them better than these. I think this is a little too metallic. I prefer the Luminous Putty blush. Here's one that's so pretty too that I love. But they have a lot of shades. They add just a nice little bit of luminosity, not over the top and not metallic. So if I were to choose between these two, I definitely would pick this one over that. Loving this putty primer. I like it so much better than the one in the pot. I think this works great. It really seemed to smooth things out. For me right now, with the under eye correctors, they're a pass for me, especially this one. I can't stand the scent of it. It smells too much like paint to me. So that one I'm not a fan of, and I'm on the fence about the others. I'll give you updates as to how they work in the under eyes, but so far I far prefer the Catrice over those. The brows. What superstars we had in the brows. This works amazing. I definitely say if you pick up anything, pick up this little palette. It works great. And I do love these pencils with it. This seems like a perfect combination, and actually the wax. My brows don't seem to want to move, so this wax is a must for me. I think especially when you have not as much hair in the brows, these wax products can be really helpful. And so those are some of the superstars, but I actually do like the foundation. I'm going to start wearing this for a few days now and see how it works on my skin long term. But right now, I think I'm getting really good coverage and I'm loving it. So I'll let you know more about the serum. I didn't feel this gave me the luminosity I get from my Numbuzzin when I used that essence, which I didn't use today because I wanted to see how this would look. I don't see it being as luminous or as hydrating as the Numbuzz number 3. That works really good for me, but I will continue to try this. Maybe this will just help even with the longevity of my makeup. But for me, this was a superstar, and I'm really surprised by that. So let me know in the comments any questions you have, or if you would like another video like this from a different brand. If you're wanting to see like all L'Oreal or all Maybelline, please let me know in the comments. If I get enough people that really like this type of video and want more, I will definitely do more for you, because there are some lines like e.l.f. that I have way more than a complete face of. I have so many multiple products that I've tried in the past year. So if you'd like one of those videos, let me know, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I would love to have you here. I hope you'll shop my links. I appreciate your support. You are the ones keeping my channel going. So thank you so much for doing that. I love and appreciate you all so much. Have a blessed week, and I'll see you soon.